Episode 18, Benz the first automobile, patent Motorwagen. Meanwhile, Benz, who had created a gas engine and an incomplete gasoline engine, encountered an unexpected and unusual connection in 1882. Benz's gas factory was struggling with poor management, and he was busy searching for investors for engine research and development. One day, a stranger's voice was heard at the entrance of the factory. Benz stopped working and looked up. There stood a man holding a camera. The man introduced himself as Emil Bühler, the official photographer of the Mannheim court, and explained that he was there to investigate Benz's business at the request of the court. Benz assumed it was due to tax issues related to his struggling business and decided to assist Bühler with his work. As Bühler toured the factory, he stopped in front of a peculiar chunk of metal that caught his eye. He asked Benz what this machine was. Benz explained that it was a high-powered two-stroke gas engine he had built. Bühler was curious about its smaller size compared to other gas engines and the various machines attached to it. In response, Benz enthusiastically explained its features, including the speed control system, spark plug, carburetor, clutch, transmission gear, and water-cooled radiator. Although Bühler lacked knowledge about engines, he could sense that this was significantly different from traditional gas engines. As he looked around, he discovered another type of engine. He asked if Benz had built that one as well. Benz replied that it was a prototype engine using petroleum as fuel. Bühler asked whether petroleum was similar to kerosene or heavy oil, and Benz explained that he was conducting research to use ligroin, a type of petroleum, as fuel. Bühler then wondered how the fuel would be burned inside the engine. Benz added that this engine did not burn fuel, but instead generated power through controlled explosions. Bühler was astonished by this statement. Unlike conventional steam engines that burn fuel, the idea of utilizing explosions for movement was fascinating to him. He became curious about how powerful it could be. After carefully examining both Benz's completed gas engine and his unfinished petroleum engine, Bühler concluded that the technology had great potential. He then asked Benz why he had not proceeded with the development of this engine. Benz scratched his head awkwardly and replied that Bühler probably knew the reason better than he did. Bühler then realized that he had completely forgotten about his original purpose of investigating Benz's struggling business. After a moment of contemplation, he firmly grasped Benz's hand and spoke. He promised to find a way to support Benz's research and expressed his desire to be part of the project. After that, Bühler and his brother judged that Benz's engine had great business potential and met various people to find investors. Finally, they succeeded in establishing a connection with the Mannheim Bank, allowing Benz to continue his research. However, the Mannheim Bank, which decided to invest in Benz, raised several issues and set conditions. One of these was that Benz's factory was difficult to operate due to high production costs. To resolve this issue, Mannheim Bank demanded that Benz merge with a company of their choosing. Benz and the Bühler brothers had no choice but to watch as the bank enforced the merger in order to receive financial support. That company merged with Benz's gas factory in 1882, forming Gasmotoren Fabrik Mannheim. When all necessary agreements, including executive shares, were finalized, Benz ended up with only 5% of the shares and a lower executive position. In the end, unqualified people occupied high positions, effectively pushing the truly important figure to the sidelines. Such a company was bound to fail. When Benz, the chief engineer of the completed gas engine, proposed a new project on petroleum, the executives, who knew little about engines, suspected hidden motives and tried to exert control. Ultimately, Benz could not endure it any longer and left Gasmotorenfabrik Mannheim in 1883, having lost everything. Initially devastated, Benz regained his resolve with the devoted support of Bertha. With financial support from Max Rose and Friedrich Wilhelm Esslinger, who ran a bicycle repair shop in Mannheim, he established Benz & Company Rheinische Gasmotorenfabrik in October 1883 to manufacture industrial machines. This company later became known as Benz & Co., the world's first automobile factory, where Benz began full-scale automobile production. Benz & Co. grew rapidly, employing 25 workers and obtaining a license to manufacture gas engines. This signified the success of Benz's gas engine. The company's success gave Benz the opportunity to pursue his long-held dream of building a vehicle that could move without a horse. Once financially stable, he began designing a high-performance automobile equipped with a 4-stroke gasoline engine. Drawing on his experience as a bicycle enthusiast, he applied bicycle-like technology in building his automobile. Unlike other automobiles of the time, which used wooden wheels, his design featured wire-spoked wheels and a gas engine positioned between the rear wheels. It also incorporated an advanced oil ignition system and a water-cooled radiator, which were highly innovative at the time. The power was transmitted to the rear axle through 2 drive chains. Benz completed his development and, in 1885, named it the Benz Patent Motorwagen. This vehicle was a 250-kilo bicycle-type 3-wheeler. While the final model ran on a gasoline engine, at that time, the gasoline engine was not yet fully developed, so it used Benz's 954cc single-cylinder 4-stroke gas engine. As a result, the performance of the Motorwagen at the time was not significantly different from other gas-powered vehicles. The engine was exposed at the rear of the Motorwagen, and starting it required manually, spinning a large flywheel mounted horizontally at the back multiple times. This action caused a metal tape connected to the wheel to spark, igniting the coil and starting the engine. The wheels were similar to those of a bicycle. The exterior of the Motorwagen resembled an open carriage, fully exposed to the elements. According to tests conducted by Mannheim University at the time, the engine produced 0.9 horsepower at 400 RPM. Benz took this first Motorwagen for experimental test drives. On July 3, 1885, Benz conducted the first public test drive of the Motorwagen in Mannheim, Germany. Many people were curious about the Motorwagen, which was small and delicate like a bicycle. At the time, various steam-powered and gas-powered vehicles were being developed, but none were highly refined, so they failed to attract widespread public attention. Benz lightly started the engine, took the steering handle, and moved forward. However, this first Motorwagen was very difficult to control. As the Motorwagen moved forward, a wall appeared in its path. Benz attempted to steer away, but despite its lightweight body, he failed to turn in time, resulting in a crash that significantly damaged the vehicle. Onlookers laughed and dispersed, thinking, of course it was bound to fail. Afterward, Benz continued his research, steadily improving the Motorwagen.